All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Week number 11 is upon us. It got started this Thursday night. I expected a close game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks, which we have grown accustomed to seeing between these two NFC West rivals in recent years. And that was the case, as it was Seattle pulling out a 28-21 victory at home over Arizona in a crucial game, because let's not forget, both the Cardinals and Seahawks came into this week's action tied with the Los Angeles Rams for first place in the NFC West. So now we're going to see, as it's almost time for the stretch run in the regular season, who is going to pull away and ultimately win that division. And with that said, we have some good games on tap for tomorrow, as well as a Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for Week 11 in the 2020 NFL season. Going to start off with the 6-3 Cleveland Browns hosting the 3-5-1 Philadelphia Eagles. And oh, how fortunes can be cruel here in the NFL. Why? Because if the regular season ended today, the 6-3 Cleveland Browns would be at home watching the playoffs, while the 3-5-1 Philadelphia Eagles would be playoff bound because they have the best record in the NFC East. Now, the Browns come into this contest favored by 2.5 points at home. They want to get back on track. And even though that they don't have Myles Garrett at defensive end, I think this defense is really licking its chops. Why? Because you're looking at an Eagles quarterback in Carson Wentz right now that is basically seeing ghosts. He's got happy feet in the pocket. He's throwing the football where he shouldn't be, and he's taking a lot of chances. And I think this Browns defense should be up for the challenge. We've talked about this Cleveland offense all season long, and it comes down to their ability to run the football. That make no mistake about it, especially now with the injury to wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. with him being out for the year. I think you're going to see even more of a focus on this ground attack for the Browns. I think that is the difference in this contest. I think the Browns' offensive line is able to dictate things, and thus Cleveland is going to get the victory at home by the score of 34-24. Now, you're going to have the 3-6 Atlanta Falcons traveling to take on the 7-2 New Orleans Saints. And for New Orleans, they know that they are not going to have the services of veteran quarterback Drew Brees for several weeks. So Saints head coach Sean Payton is going with Taysom Hill instead of Jameis Winston. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that Taysom Hill has been with the team longer and he is more familiar with their system. But make no mistake about it, the Saints are 7-2, but they cannot overlook the 3-6 Atlanta Falcons. This Atlanta Falcons team, they're going to be game. They do have some veterans on there that they're playing for jobs, maybe not with the Falcons, but potentially another team. So because of that, New Orleans is definitely going to have to pack a lunch in this one. I think this game comes down to the ability of Alvin Kamara, the fine Saints running back, coming out of the backfield, both as a runner and as a receiver. And if the Falcons defense cannot stop him, they will definitely be in for a long afternoon in the Superdome. I think Atlanta will give New Orleans all that they can handle, but I'm going to take the Saints at home by the score of 27-24. Now, down in Landover, Maryland, you're going to have the 2-7 Washington football team hosting the 2-6-1 Cincinnati Bengals. And for Cincinnati, they took it on the chin last Sunday, courtesy of the team with the best record in the NFL right now, and I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We look at this Bengals team. I say it week in and week out. They're tough in their game. Obviously, it didn't show with the final score last week versus Pittsburgh. But this team under second-year head coach Zach Taylor wants to get back on track and prove that they could potentially be a contender in the coming years. For Washington, a very heartbreaking loss last week on the road versus the Detroit Lions, and this club wants to get back on track. We know that we saw Washington quarterback Alex Smith throw for a big passing day last week. That's not what he does. He did that because Washington fell behind early, and Washington needs to get their running game going early in this contest in order to dictate the line of scrimmage. But I think this is going to be a back and forth affair Last team with the football more than likely wins, and I think that's going to be Cincinnati for this one. That's going to take the Bengals on the road by the score of 30-27. Now in Charlotte, you're going to have the 3-7 Carolina Panthers hosting the 4-5 Detroit Lions, and this game is going to come down to the availability of Teddy Bridgewater, the Panthers starting quarterback. He had the knee injury last week, and he's going to be a game time decision. Carolina is already going to be without the services of running back Christian McCaffrey, so not having Bridgewater would definitely limit what they can do. You look at this Detroit team, they're 4-5. This is a good opportunity for them to get back to 500, even though there's still going to be a long shot to get to the postseason as a wild card, just due to the fact that you have so many good teams in front of them in the NFC. Matt Stafford, the Lions quarterback, he's been up and down. We know that Detroit is not going to have rookie running back DeAndre Swift for this one, as he's sitting out due to a concussion. But I think that the Lions are going to ride the right arm of Matt Stafford. Detroit, like I said, they've been up and down, but they've been game, and they have not given up for head coach Matt Patricia, and that is the big thing. And I'm going to take the Lions in a squeaker by the score of 24-23. Now down in northern Florida, you're going to have the 1-8 Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the 9-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. Game time temperature for this one is set at 76 degrees, with Pittsburgh coming in as a 10.5-point favorite. We've seen Pittsburgh favored big in the last couple of weeks due to the fact that they have been playing some of the also-rans of the NFL, and they get another one here in Jacksonville. This Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they haven't been tested in recent weeks. But at the same token, I think they're going to go out there and flex their muscles against a very limited Jacksonville offense. We know what Pittsburgh can do offensively when they get the football, but I think that you're going to see more of a ground attack, especially if it's raining in this one, to really take some pressure off of Big Ben in his passing game, and really to basically just go out there and establish the line of scrimmage. I give Pittsburgh the advantage, +2 in the turnover category in this one. If you got the Steelers defense in this one, you definitely want to start them on your fantasy team, as they could rack up some points for you. And I think Pittsburgh wins this one running away by the score of 34-17. Now, a crucial one in the playoff picture in the AFC is you're going to have the 6-3 Tennessee Titans traveling to Baltimore to take on the 6-3 Ravens. Baltimore comes into this contest favored by 6, but there is no love lost between these franchises. Remember, Baltimore finished 2019 with the best record in the NFL, but it was Tennessee that went there in the divisional round and dominated them for the upset win. And in that contest, this Ravens defense could not stop Titans running back Derrick Henry. On the flip side, this Titans defense limited what Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson could do. And we're starting to see defenses around the NFL catch up to Lamar Jackson from the standpoint that, you know what, they know about his athletic ability, but they want him to beat them from the pocket with his arm, and he is unable so far to be able to do that consistently in his early career. I think the Ravens definitely want to try to go out there and establish the line of scrimmage with their running game. Why? Because the Titans defense, as the season has progressed, has not been as stingy as it was earlier in the season. This Ravens defense, on the flip side, needs to take advantage of the Titans' injuries on offense, and more importantly, make Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback of the Titans, one-dimensional. If you could find a way to slow down this Titans running attack and make Tannehill beat you with his arm, that changes everything. This is going to be a typical knock them out, drag out type affair between these two teams, and two teams that are two of the better squads in the AFC. But I'm going to give the nod to Baltimore at home by the score of 26-20. Now, it's going to be the 4-5 New England Patriots traveling to Houston to take on the 2-7 Texans. New England comes into this contest favored by 2.5 points, but you have a Texans team that has been playing better in their game, and they're trying to finish out the season on a positive note. The Patriots defense really showed up as they slowed down Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football in week number 10, and they have to deal with another dazzling quarterback in Deshaun Watson. But make no mistake about it, Deshaun Watson is going to come to play. He's been there all season long. It's just the fact that everybody around him, offensively and defensively, have not stepped up their game through consistently enough throughout this season. The New England defense, they're getting better. They're expected to have Stephon Gilmore back at one cornerback position, and when he's out there, it really solidifies what the Pats are able to do. New England has still struggled to throw the football as they're more of a running team with quarterback Cam Newton, and they want to try to go out there and establish that physicality versus a Texans defense. But if New England is unable to get that ground game going and Cam Newton has to be more of a passer, look for veteran defensive end J.J. Watt to pin his ears back and come after Newton. So it should be an interesting contest. But at the end of the day, I think Deshaun Watson has just enough to escape this Patriots defense. And I'm going to take Houston at home by the score of 23-19. It's going to be the 6-3 Miami Dolphins traveling to the Mile High City to take on the 3-6 Denver Broncos. Miami is flown under the radar, but right now they are 6-3. And not only do they have their eyes set on the postseason, they also have their eyes set on a potential AFC East title. It's been a workmanlike approach throughout this season for the Dolphins. They've been running the football good. They're playing solid defense, and they are a disciplined team under second-year head coach Brian Flores. You look at rookie quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and just like it was for him at Alabama, the moment is not too big for him. And in just a couple of starts, you're seeing this team really rally behind him. For Denver, they have a lot of injuries on both sides of the football. They're still a young team that's trying to figure it out. I don't think Vic Fangio is the answer for this club at the head coach spot. And I think that's really going to be, it's been telling so far this season, but I think that story is going to continue to play out through the season. It's been a workmanlike approach all season for the Dolphins. I think that trend continues in this one, and I'm going to take Miami on the road by the score of 27-17. Now in Inglewood, you're going to have the 2-7 Los Angeles Chargers hosting the winless New York Jets. And for Los Angeles, they come into this game favored by 9.5 points in the perfect trap game. But I think this is something where the Chargers will be up for the challenge. The Chargers, they've been in most of their contests all season long, but their biggest problem is being unable to finish. The Chargers definitely have the talent. The Jets, they traded as many and cut as many people as they possibly could, as they already have their eyes set on 2021. I think the Chargers know that it's all over, except for the shouting for them as far as 2020 goes, but they still want to play for pride. And I think they go out there and take care of their business versus the Jets by the score of 31-17. Arguably the best game of the day will have the 7-2 Green Bay Packers traveling to Indy to take on the 6-3 Colts. Indy comes into this contest favored by 1.5 points, and you look at this Colts defense going up against this Packers offense, which will be a very intriguing matchup, because you look at what the Packers have in their at their receiving core, which is led by wide receiver Devontae Adams. But the Colts definitely have the athletes in their secondary to match up with the dangerous Green Bay wide receivers. I want to see how this front seven for the Colts defensively matches up with the Packers offensive line, as they want to try to go out there and make Aaron Rodgers, the Packers quarterback, uncomfortable. It's all about trying to get Aaron Rodgers out of his rhythm, get him off of his spot, and disrupt the timing of that Packers offense. That's going to be the big thing. I also look at this Green Bay defense. How can they go out there and make life tough for Colts veteran quarterback Phillip Rivers? Now, Rivers is not as mobile as Aaron Rodgers, so definitely when you get him off of his spot, you have the potential to force some turnovers. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair. Points are going to be at a premium, and the mistakes in this contest that each team makes will be highlighted. But I think Green Bay has enough to get past Indy by the score of 23-19. Now it's going to be the 2-7 Dallas Cowboys traveling to Minneapolis to take on the 4-5 Vikings. Minnesota comes into this contest favored by a touchdown over Dallas, and just like it is for Detroit in the NFC North, the Vikings are looking to hang around, get back to 500, even though it's still going to be a tough road ahead of them to try to climb over so many good teams in order to get a postseason spot. The Vikings have been playing better football in recent weeks. Their defense has come around. It hasn't been pretty at times on offense, but the bottom line is you'll take the ugly wins over a pretty loss any day of the week in the NFL. For Dallas, a lot of injuries we know about. A lot of issues on the defensive side of the ball, but the bottom line is this team keeps trying. And I think at this point of the year, you're going to see guys who are going to go out there and compete. They're trying to play for jobs, whether it be with the Cowboys in 2021 or another team. So you cannot overlook them. However, I think the Vikings defensively will make life tough for this Cowboys offense, try to make this offense one-dimensional and force a couple of turnovers, which will be the difference as the Vikings get the 27-19 win at home. On Sunday Night Football, a classic AFC West matchup with some longtime rivals in a new city, as it's going to be the 8-1 Kansas City Chiefs making their first trek to Las Vegas to take on the 6-3 Raiders. KC comes into this contest favored by 8 points in spite of the fact that they lost at home earlier this season to these same Raiders. Now, a lot of people out there are saying, well, the Raiders did it once. Can they do it again? You go back to that contest, and the way that the Raiders beat the Chiefs, they dictated the line of scrimmage. They ran the football. They controlled the clock. And if you're running the football and you're keeping your offense on the field, Patrick Mahomes and his Chiefs offense cannot do any damage to you. I think what is going to happen in this game, I think this Chiefs defense is going to be up for the challenge a little bit more because they know they want to try to take away the Raiders' running game and try to make Derek Carr beat them with his arm. Not only beat them with his arm, but also speed the game up, because by doing so, you give the football back to Patrick Mahomes and you let him do his thing. A lot of bad blood between these two teams. It's the Chiefs and the Raiders. It doesn't matter if the Raiders are in L.A., Oakland, or currently Vegas. You put the women and children to bed when these two teams get on the field, as it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out type affair. The Raiders escaped with a victory earlier this season in Kansas City, and they were able to establish themselves. But I think right now for the Chiefs, they're looking not only to get back to the Super Bowl, but in order to get there, they want to try to get that top spot in the AFC, and they know a loss right here to the Raiders would really hinder those chances. I think the Chiefs are going to be up for the challenge, and I think Kansas City gets the 31-27 victory on the road. And finally, on Monday night, you're going to have the 7-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the 6-3 Los Angeles Rams. And for Tampa, they got back on track with a win last Sunday versus the Carolina Panthers, and they did it with their running game. And I think you're going to try to see a heavy dose of Ronald Jones again at running back in this contest for the Bucs. But you look at that Rams defensive line led by Aaron Donald. Will they be able to stop this Bucs ground attack? That's going to be the big thing. You look at the matchups at the wide receiver position for Tampa and also in the secondary for the Rams. That's going to be a big one. Who is Jalen Ramsey going to guard in this game? That's going to be a big thing that we have to see how that plays out. But I look at this Bucs defense. They're very opportunistic, and I think they're going to go out there and make life a little bit tough for Rams quarterback Jared Goff. We haven't even talked about Tom Brady yet, the Bucs veteran quarterback. He got back on track like the rest of this Bucs offense did last Sunday, and I think they want to try to get into a rhythm and finish this stretch run because they know how important it is to win that division and get at least one home game for the playoffs. Both of these teams have a lot on the line, but I'm going to take the Bucs at home by the score of 30-24. So, folks, those are my picks for week number 11 in the 2020 NFL season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. I want to thank all of the subscribers out there. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.